This stream will not be recorded.
Well, fuck me.
I'm telling you, this shit's really like.
Well, it came up to 45 Cawwfee and just said that.
It just said that?
Yeah, on the top. Yeah.
Well, now it says checkpoint. Oh, okay, we're live.
Ah, see that?
Yeah, see, they're trying to confuse me here. And I don't
Well,
know.
how come I can see myself in two places? It's supposed to be.
Because you don't have to look down there. Just look right up top.
Okay.
We're ignoring the that part. Because don't look at yourself. Don't look at yourself. Well, yes, a little bit does. Blah blah blah. Good morning.
Good morning, Des. Good morning, Dawn. How are you today?
Nobody calls me. I get on here and then my phone rings, right? How long have we been talking and my phone nothing?
Nothing. Yeah.
Hi. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, ladies. So nice to see you. We just kind of decided to pop on and talk about the wake up.
We wanted to talk about the coffee, different types and brands, and who drinks what, and how strong it is, and what gets us going.
I don't, you know, creators do this buy me a coffee thing, which they promote or whatever, and it's like I don't know if I think it goes to a PayPal or something like that, you know, instead of like the YouTube money that they try to create. And I'm like, but I want like a legit like buy a coffee, like I don't want the PayPal, like send me a for real ready made cup of coffee, you know, with the cream and all the good stuff.
Yes. And my Splenda. My Splenda.
Yeah, coffee does stain your teeth. Desiree. That child, I'll tell you that one. Dawn, how are you this morning? Des, how are you feeling this morning? I don't know what time it is for you, Dawn. It's early. You guys are both in the same time zone, so they're earlier than us. It is early for them.
3 hour difference from us.
Yeah.
So that they're 9:30 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's perfect time. You know, when we used to do coffee talk every day, um, it was like I think it was doing it like 7 o'clock my time, so it would be 10 o'clock their time. You know, and also then it was a little like gave the UK time. Am I here?
Yeah.
Okay. It gave UK time like it was more like 5 or 6 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn says she's okay. It's 9:50 a.m. Well,
Oh.
good morning. I really wanted to bitch about my morning. I'm sure it's no surprise to Doreen. If you guys can,
Tip had a tough of a time.
you know, the wake up. I don't think I can put enough emphasis on how difficult the wake up is some days. You know, you go to bed feeling pretty good, you know, and then you wake up and you're feel like you turned into a zombie in the middle of the night. Okay,
Or
so here we go.
you
I
don't
gotta
go to
get
bed at
back.
all.
Look, Dawn right here. Never stained her teeth, and he's 70 years old. Dawn, I love it. You're adorable. Sounds like science to me, Dawn. She has done her own study, and I'm standing behind it.
There you are.
I know, right? If anything, the thing I've noticed staining or ruining my teeth the most,
The
one
cigarette.
is cigarettes, yeah, and also, we've talked about before, as a lot of you guys know, just to keep it in mind, we are an autoimmune illness sort of base. We'll talk about anything, but one of the things that we do go back to a lot is autoimmune illness and the things that we go through living with it. And one thing we had talked about previously was some of the medications that we have to take for that and how strong they are. And some of those medicines have really done a number on my mouth as far as my, the gums and the teeth and the whole jazz. But that's its own story. Dawn and Des, lovely ladies in the chat. And there's a little bit of a creeper, which I love.
Anything particular you girls want to talk about? Do you have any?
What's up for today?
I mean, I know Dawn usually has a lot of questions. She's very inquisitive about MS and stuff like
I
that.
know,
So
not I also, I really want to talk about my situation last night. Do you mind
no, not at all.
a little bit? Because that's something that's real, right? And it is
Yeah,
valid.
it is.
And I don't want people to feel alone. One of the whole reasons that uh, I created the groups in the beginning was if one of the shitty things that I went through, one falling lesson, one cooling lesson, one any of that kind of stuff could help one person, right? It would be worth it for me to just do these like raw videos. And I actually used to make more of an effort to put myself together, but I also like it just raw. But you guys, I as many of you guys know, or as you get to know me, I have had a granddaughter within the past year. She'll be a year this, and becoming a grandmother was so exciting, but also extremely terrifying because of my illness and my ability to do things. And oh, look who it is. This is Peggy. She's another one of my friends that I've met through other chats. And I'm so happy she's here. Good morning, Peggy. I'm happy you're here. So I was talking a little bit about, and Peggy watched our live from the other night with you, me, and Meg.
Oh, did she
Which
now?
was awesome. Yeah, and she gave
Nice.
us some feedback. Yeah, so uh, Dawn and Peggy may know each other. They both kind of stem from the same spot where I know them from, and but so I'm going to be a grandmother, and I was a very busy mom prior to having MS. Uh, oh, Peggy, I get it. Uh, Sometimes I just listen to stuff. Uh, anyway, with MS, it's definitely slowed me down. I have gone into like the melting kind of nobody's home scenarios. So my daughter isn't real comfortable with me just watching the baby by myself, which I have to respect. I have to respect that because I understand, and I understand why she feels that way. And I can't disagree with her because I don't know if something is going to happen. I would never be able to forgive myself if something was going to happen. But also coming along with that is I don't have the ability to help out the mother of someone with a new baby as much as I would like to. And that really breaks my heart. That is something that's difficult for me every single day. And, it she hit me up last night and wanted me to go shopping today. And shopping is a big deal because it's really exhausting, right? It's shopping's a lot to just go into the store. For one, taking a shower can be a lot. Just the shower process, which we can talk about in a little bit if we want to, can be its own process. So it's like I'm gonna have to shower, I'm going to have to go shopping, and then try to keep the baby entertained while we're there. I've had kind of a a rough week. I've been not a rough week. I've had a great week. I've just been busy, and every time I do something, I end up having to pay some time for it, and so I needed to catch up. On some of my rest, some of my sleep, kind of to recharge and have some energy. And then I have doctor appointments tomorrow and Friday. So I felt awful that I had to tell my daughter, like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can go to this fancy dress shopping place to cart the babes. And I love her. It's not that it's that part's not difficult. It's the energy and the reserve. You know what I mean, Dor? It's just
100%.
it's so much. And then I feel so internally guilty that I can't help.
But you shouldn't.
Oh, Peggy P says she can she can relate. She has similar issues but different diseases than you two. Well, we both have additional diseases.
Yeah.
We've just only talked about MS so far. Um, so we'll talk about all of it. Well, that's okay. Okay, Dawn asked a great question. And I think we both have a different answer.
I don't really think that anyone that doesn't have MS can actually understand MS. Like we say, you don't get it until you get it. I have a 31-year-old son, and telling him about MS, or I have this fatigue, or I have this pain, or I have this ache, is just like saying I have a headache in his mind. It's not really taken seriously. It's like brushed aside. Um, I don't think that they really know. They don't understand MS. As much as you can explain it to them, no.
Well, I think there are a couple of things where we can give examples of where, well, and on that is very true. Somebody with chronic pain, they do have an understanding of what living with chronic pain is like. And that's one reason why we kind of opened up. We used to be an MS group, and then we decided, hey, we all have things additionally, and back surgeries and back problems and other things and aging and different things that are happening that we kind of decided, let's just open this up to everything. You know, we don't necessarily discriminate or and uh, you know, yeah, we want to, and we were talking about that last night about talking about, you know, back pain, disc degeneration, osteo arthritis, different things like that. Um,
Like when you see us, or if anybody is on this live, they see us sitting here. And like that's probably the easiest thing that we can do is sit here. Um, Nobody sees us on a daily, um, walking, cooking, cleaning. It's not easy like it is for the typical person. Um, it takes a lot
the
of time.
normies, you know, a
Right.
lot of
The norm, yes.
normies, we'll call other people normies.
Yes, the normies. Um, there's a lot of sit down. There's a lot of breaks. There's a lot of doing the work sitting down because you just can't stand for too long. It takes lots and lots of energy out of you, whereas a normie can just fly right through it, you know, do it, and you know they feel little tired. We feel exhausted,
I remember,
exhausted.
yeah, I remember the days of being able to clean the entire house, cook dinner, do all the laundry, fold it, put it away, be dressed, showered, and cute when everybody got home, you know, doing all of the things. And it just doesn't work that way. You have to find ways to do. One of the one things that I love is like the dusting as you just go through your house. Uh, you know, like I'll take the Swiffer a day. And like, so every time I get up or I move from one portion of my house to the next, I'm just Swiffering as I go. I'm not just Swiffering
Right,
or dusting. You know, it's like it's got
right.
to be in throughout the day as I'm doing other things as well.
I
Let's see. Des says she vacuums sitting.
sitting. See,
See, Dawn says she remembers those days too, right? We were running the whole show with our hands tied behind our back, right, guys? Right, ladies? Like,
and still have the energy to say, "Hey, you feel like going out, or you know, you want to go for a walk, or you know."
yeah, dinner. We going out tonight? It's like, oh, it's 3:30. It's late. I'm in.
Right. Yes.
I'm in. I'm in.
Yes.
But and I've come to, you know, we've really been able to you know, I look at it as like I really try to look at it as like a form of retirement. Not more of like I'm more retired than I am disabled. You know, it's more like I live a retired-ish person-ish lifestyle. I say ish because it just includes all of the ish, right? But you know what I mean? Don't you feel a little bit more like you live a retired person's lifestyle along with somebody that's ill? Don't get me wrong. But in my mindset, I tried to live more like I'm retired. I do things at this speed. I can do
Right,
things at this time. That's not necessarily what I pictured for myself, right? But that's where we are.
right.
So I think you have to kind of try to find a way to mentally get comfortable with yourself somehow
You do.
and living this life. And like Des said the other night when we were talking, about trying to the cage thing, right? Where she said we were talking about smoking weed. And she had happened to say, it helps her deal with being stuck in this cage. And it can often feel like a cage that we're living in. You know, let's see. Dawn, see. Dawn said she's been retired since she was 26. Babe, I would love for you and us to talk about your things when or if you feel like sharing them. Uh, Desiree said her aunt said retired, and that's the thing. I'm 50. You know what I mean? I'm 50. Well, I'm gonna be 50 this year. I'm not afraid. I'm excited. You guys convinced? I'm not. I'm not afraid. I'm thankful that I've made it to 50. I'm thankful that I've gotten to see my granddaughter be born. I mean, there's so many things that I feel blessed with and thankful for. But then I like get myself in this pity party that I just can't do the things that I would like to do. And I'm sure I'm not the only person. And my pity parties surely don't compare to other people's pity parties. I'm just talking about my pity party.
Well, everyone's pity parties are different because everybody's lives are different. Um, I lived in a pity party for a long time. You know that. I lived in a deep depression for a very long time. I basically gave up on myself there for quite a while there. And it is depressing when you realize you can't do the things you used to do. There's no way you can do the things you used to do. And what we were talking about yesterday, how because you can't do the things you used to do, you don't want to hang out with the people that you hung out with, and because their expectations are you're going to do what you did with them, and you can't do that. So there's no point in hanging out with them because they're not going to understand. And you
All
say
right. So
no to the invites all the time for that reason till it comes the day where nobody's calling you, nobody's inviting you anywhere anymore, and you're left alone.
well, that's something I do want to talk about, and we can talk about that um, now. Is the loneliness, and that's something I would love to post on the autoimmune house, and we can always post this later, or maybe if Mel or somebody comes in, we can have them or share it over there because I do want to talk about the loneliness that comes with this life. And so let me ask you, let's do this since you started the topic, right? And so I wanted to ask you, at what point did you start to feel like people were pulling away from you because you got diagnosed at 35.
Well, remember, I got diagnosed at 35, but I went on for like a good 15 years, I want to say. Um, Symptom free.
Right.
So I still lived my life normal. So, well, I want to say when I had to move, which I don't remember that age, the age that I was, which I don't think was far from 50.
When
Um,
you where you are now.
yeah, because when I moved over here, well, I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be where I used to be because that's where all my friends were. Um, didn't realize that, or I expected that they would follow through, those friends.
Like
And
would
that,
follow you over there.
right. And that didn't happen. Nobody came here to visit me like when I lived right across the street from them, like my house was open door. Everybody came up and down, in and out, and it was very lively, and there was basically never a dull moment. When I got here is where I felt the silence and the loneliness. And now I'm disabled, where I can't walk like I used to. I can't get out like I could. Um, there's nobody here. It's desolate where I'm at. There's nobody to talk to. There's nobody I'd want to talk to. Um, there's
Now,
really,
where you
okay.
used to live, there was a little bit of hanging out with your neighbors or people
Right,
around, right?
all day and all night.
And you had lived there for many years, right?
25,
So you had created like lifelong friendships and relationships with people.
correct. But I guess they didn't see me the way I saw them because they didn't come and follow through, and come here and visit or call. They didn't do any of that stuff. I went that way, but again, I'm not going to inconvenience someone. Like I said, I went that way, but if you're not outside, I'm not going to go knocking on your door, for you to come and sit outside like we used to do, because maybe you're doing something else. Like, I'm nobody special. You don't, just because Doreen is here doesn't mean everybody has to come out. So if you knew I was there and you didn't come out, fine, you didn't come out. So I end up sitting alone by myself out there. And again, difficulty, hard for me to get there to begin with. And hard for me to get back into a cab to get home because I couldn't walk. It was summertime, very hot, and the heat, like you say, it's not good for us. And I like dizzied out and got really weak and back in the cab and back home. And I mean, and that's just the way it is. There is no more hangout, out time, fun time. There is none of that. And that's very depressing. And it's very lonely. This disease is very lonely, and very depressing.
Um, Now let me ask you this. Were there people that reached out to you that you didn't necessarily reach back to? I'm not saying name any names or anything like that.
Repeat
But
that. I didn't hear you.
were there people that you reached out to or that reached out to you and you reached back out to? No, wait. Rewind. people reached out to you, but you didn't respond. You didn't put much into it either. I'm just asking.
Um, no. In the beginning I reached out a lot and they didn't reciprocate. Um, and other people reached out and I didn't reciprocate. I said no.
Okay. So some people did reach out and then you said no, right?
Yes.
And that's something that I found too in myself, that especially when you're learning or in the beginning, you it takes time to learn yourself, let alone try to incorporate people. For me anyway, it took time for me to, it wasn't, and then I started to realize what I could deal with. But I did want to read this, if that's okay,
Yeah.
because I want to see. During, maybe you could sing some, like, music when I'm looking for my glasses, like a.
It's fun.
Thank you. Okay, so Don says, I was hit by a car at 26. Spiral break to the right thigh. Right hip smashed into 10 pieces. Pelvis into 3 pieces. Tailbone broken off on the head. An inch head injury. 9 days in unconscious and medication.
Wow.
And
That is horrendous. So
it is
sorry.
it is horrendous, and I I know why Don did it. Oh, I heard an echo. Hey, is it me? Uh, that is horrendous, and I'm so sorry that you've gone through that, and I would love to talk about the journey, how you live now, Dawn, and how you've lived since then. That is traumatic. I
It really
don't
is.
know if you have a traumatic brain injury, spinal injury. I mean, breaking all of those things down there in your back, um, especially like I've said before, I've been exposed to some pretty horrible accidents that do change the trajectory of your life. And those most certainly deserve validation, and as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not, people go through some real serious shit
Yeah.
that they don't ever talk about. And one of the things about that I wanted to do with my channel, and I love having you with me because we're like partners and everything. But the ability for anybody to talk about whatever it is that you've gone through, and not saying, like you said, unless you've gone through it, you don't know, right?
Yes.
Um, But like she said, when you've also lived that type of life, you know what
Yes,
that's like.
exactly.
Here, this resonates perfectly. I'm mostly in bed now, and she has a caretaker. Doreen has a caretaker.
Yes, I do.
There are quite a few people. Another friend of ours, Lori, she'll come on and she'll tell her story. I think we'll do a one on her and I. And but she has a caretaker. Dawn, I hope that you like your caretaker. In all honesty, and do you guys work well together? That's a always a question I have, right? Tomas giving Dawn some love. Tomas is such a sweetheart, and she's a pretty good relationship with her caretaker, and that is super important.
That is so key.
That Yeah, it really is. It is key to feeling like you're living with some dignity, you're living with some type of independence, or having things that make you comfortable, that you like. Somebody that understands I'm not going to do everything you tell me to do, and maybe I'm not going to behave today. Maybe I'm eating the cookie I'm not supposed to eat. I don't encourage bad behavior. I just am aware bad behavior happens regardless of the situation, right? Because we would like stuff. Be in bed all the time and can't have a cookie. Come on. It's more torture. I'm glad that you have a good relationship, Don. I think that's super important.
Now, once upon a time, I was a caregiver for a man who had Lou Gehrig's disease. I was a caregiver for a woman who had a heart condition, and I was a caregiver for a woman who had to take 3 times a week for kidney dialysis. Plus, she had Alzheimer's. Who would have thought years to come, I would be the one that had to be taken care of? That is like a kick in my ass, honestly. And just the thought of that is depressing.
Oh, yeah, it is a tough one. You know,
Hmm.
when you've been a care person and taking care of other people, I'm the worst patient there is. I am the worst patient there is. My last doctor dropped me. He broke up with me. We I mean, the feelings were mutual. He just made the first move, you know what I mean? But yeah, we broke up. Because once you are a caregiver, you have expectations. And, you know, once you want to be, it's important to be heard and felt respected and treated with dignity when you lose,
Yes.
you know, when you lose.
I have never made any of the people who I took care of feel like they were less than, made them feel like they couldn't, treated each and every one of them as if they could, pushed past their disability,
Yes. Well, I
which
mean,
which I think that they appreciated that very much because it's not mentioned, it's not talked about, other than the things that you're doing for them because of their disease. But other than that, no, it's just like two
it's just
people.
handled,
Yes, yes,
right? It's just handled. You
yes,
just handle it and we're good to go,
right.
you know. And that is and that's the way it should be. Unfortunately, it is not always that way, and I don't like that at all. And that's something, if if I feel like you're not getting what you should get or you deserve to get, I'll
Well,
try to help the way I can.
I wouldn't want my disease pushed in my face or reminded about it on a daily. I wouldn't want something like that.
Right, like
You know,
all
I
my
would never do that to someone.
no, because you that's not how you want to be treated, and that is how you treat people before you were sick,
Right?
you know. So let's see. Let's pull up what Dawn's saying. She's always got good stuff to say, and then looks like Tomas got something to say. Very much, very accurate. Very, very accurate. We spend a lot of time fighting to exist
Yes.
and exist physically and exist in a decent mental space. Some type of positive mental space, and finding some way to do something positive that makes you feel like you have something to give somewhere, you know, and that just might be my opinion. I have plenty of opinion to give, right? But I agree with,
That is honestly the truth, what you just said. Um, I've found that me knowing that I can't do things physically, and I'm sort of used to running the show, and I can't do that anymore like I once did. I find
yeah,
myself to be more mouthy and more bossy because I can't physically do it. So I will verbally do it, which does not come across to people very
as nice.
well.
You're right.
Right.
And that's something that I did have to learn. I mean, it takes time to learn your new self, we've talked about, pseudo bulbar effect, which is something that's common in MSers, where you will have to look up the proper definition, but it's almost where you cry when you want to laugh and you laugh when you want to
You
cry,
want to
and
cry?
your emotions are always appropriate responses to what's going on. And it's very difficult for you to understand, took years to understand that's what's going on, that it's actually a thing, and you can learn how to kind of live with it and find your own balancing in that. But for other people to understand that and not be offended or take it as personal jabs,
Right.
it's very, very difficult uh, to do. Okay,
Because
here's, let's see. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that because I find it to be very much needed to do that because you still need to stand your ground and you don't ever want to be taken advantage of because you have a disability. When a lot of people will take advantage of people who have disabilities. And I wanted it to be known from the get go. I'm not the one, you know, I'm not mentally, you know, incapacitated. I know what I'm talking about.
Right,
I'm not
yeah.
going to take advantage of me because you see me weak, and can't move or can't walk, you're not going to do that to me. You are not going to take advantage of me. So yes, to me, in the beginning, you have to have that mouthpiece and hold your ground, stand your ground. Otherwise, you will never get any respect.
Well, one of the things that was difficult for me because, I was in the wheelchair right away, and it was really eye opening to me how people treated me being in the wheelchair. And I I almost, like I've said this before, if you are in a wheelchair and you have someone that is drives you, pushes you in the wheelchair, I think it's important for that person to spend an afternoon out and about in the wheelchair to know how you are treated. Because some people treat you wonderfully. Sometimes you're invisible.
That's right.
And I know a lot of people that hold themselves back from utilizing a chair or will get in the chair and then become meek or quiet, right? Because it's almost like admitting going into the chair is somehow a failure, where I think it's a power move. I think it's if that's what's going to help you get what you want to do done, use whatever you can. That
Like I'm coming, fight or flight. I'm
Yeah.
still in it to win it, and I'm still here.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things, like I will tell people that if you're going into a wheelchair, don't be quiet. Don't lose your voice. Say hi, say thank you. Say hello to kids. It doesn't have to be scary. Personalize your wheelchair, or wear your little loud clothes. Like I want to look like Mrs. Roper as I get
Yeah.
older.
Be seen, and be heard.
Yeah, be seen and be heard, and don't be silenced.
Yes.
Okay, we get in a little bit. Okay, so Tomas says, you want to read it?
Yeah, I've never let a doc, therapist, or anyone tell me what or what not to do. I'll stop doing crap I'm doing when my system tells me not to do it.
Well,
I've
and
never let it, yeah.
I think we do get a little resistant, don't we? After a little while, it's like, you tell me enough what I have to do, or my body tells me enough what I can or can't do,
Right.
right? So it's like, I maybe I don't want to do what you said I had to do. I don't I I don't want to do it. And there are some things that I do, I weigh whether I'll weigh whether I think it's truthfully good for me. Sometimes things have to come in an order, for myself. Um
Right. And speaking of weigh, don't tell me I have to lose 20 pounds and that'll make me feel better.
so I already know. But there's a lot of things against that make that very, very difficult. And I'm not making excuses. There are a lot of things that do make it very difficult. Uh, okay, so let's see what we got next.
Yes.
Yeah, Peggy B. It's a tough one, but I'll tell you something that I've learned, and Doreen has probably learned, uh, because for me, I was not listening. I wasn't respecting what my body was telling me. I was doing whatever I wanted to do, and I was dragging my body along with me until it just said, "Blomp, no, we're not doing any of the things that you're suggesting, Tiffany. We're going to do what I say now." And so I think it is really important to listen to your body, to take care of it, be gentle with it, and to listen to respect it.
I do respect my body. I respect what my body's telling me. I will rest now when needed. I will not really overdo anything. Um, once in a while, once in a blue mood, I will have myself a large white Russian. And on that day is a day that I give myself permission to not listen to anything that my body or anything that anybody has to say. On that day, I'm in Lululand and I'm enjoying myself and I'm going to stay just like that. And the next day is just recovery. But you have to have a good day. You have to have at least one very good day, something that you enjoy. And I enjoy my white Russian and I will have it.
Oh yeah, she'll have a dilly. She will say, "I'm having my white Russian and I'm having a dilly," and it's honestly like if once a 6 months, twice a 6 months, something's going
Right.
on. You know what I mean? It's not. It's one drink. It's a good size one, but she does like to get her little dilly. She listens to her music, and that's her thing. So
And I
it,
want everybody to listen to the music with me. I want everybody to sing with me. I want to go through down memory lane. I want to listen to all the oldies. And eventually if I'm on here, if I'm on chat, I would chat. I'll fall asleep sometimes.
oh yeah, she'll be having a blast, the music, laughing, and then
Then I'm out for a little bit and then I'm back up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Peggy loves it.
It's great. I mean,
It's great.
you have to be you once in a while. You know, you have to treat yourself to you.
Yeah, you do. You really, really do. You have to somehow make things enjoyable. My office in here seriously looks like a 16-year-old girl's room. I spend a lot of my time in here. I have my desk, my this and that. I have my couch. I have a TV in here. It's the temperature I need to be. My
Right.
friends are here. But I most certainly do stupid things that give me smileys. And they're just stupid. Just nonsense things.
Right.
We have to have things to enjoy.
Yes. And the best thing about it is you don't have to go nowhere to do it. You're in the comforts of your own home. Well, we've learned to make our home,
Do that. Yeah.
yeah, our everything, our home, our playground,
Yeah.
everything, our hangout.
Yeah. We have truthfully created an amazing group um, of video chatting, and we had that in place before the vid, and before 2020, we'll say, we had already had that kind of in place. And so when everything was closed, we still had each other in a support system, and we were still socializing and still hanging out, and we would have drinks together, music together on Friday nights, and that's something we could do, Doreen, like have a couple drinks and
Yes. And even movie night with Mario. He
oh
always
yeah,
wants to do movie night. We could all sit and watch a movie together.
yeah,
And whatever your munchies. Yeah, it's great.
bring we've had dinner together.
Yes.
Yeah, brought in all New Year's, right? I'll stay up for Peach Coast.
Yes. And I just wanted to have lunch with someone. Just lunch with someone, not anything.
It's just like a one-on-one lunch.
Right. Not a, not a dating site, not anything like that. Not looking for any, just to talk with somebody on here, talk about our disabilities. I just wanted to have lunch. I'd make my lunch, you'd make your lunch. We'd sit together on the chat and we'd eat our lunch and we'd talk. But nobody wanted to seem to have lunch with me, so I never had
Well,
it.
that's something that we can still continue to promote that, and if that's something you would like to do.
Yeah, but no, because you didn't see anybody say, "Hey, hey, 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 hey." By the way, that that one wanted the lunch. I missed out on that one. I was interested. Is it still
Well,
going? No, none of that ever happened. So let it be. You are so frozen, Tiffany. Knock, knock, knock. Come out of that door, that frozen state you're in. Tiffy, Tiffy, Tiffy. Come now. Come. Well, I guess she's frozen. She'll be back. She'll be out of the froze mode. There she goes. You were frozen for so long. I was
geez.
knocking on your screen. Knock, 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 knock.
Well, I was just looking, and you guys, my other computer that I just got my little computer to try to set this up and do, and I'm totally like computer old days. I've been using my phone and my iPad for so long that I'm just so used to doing it that way. So I got a computer. That computer I was struggling with a little bit. And I asked my sweetheart so nicely if I could get a MacBook because everything feeds into it and it's color coded, which is like I'm like a kid, right? I'm like, oh, there's all my friends. So please bear with me. I'm anyways, fuck it. You guys just either hang out or I'm trying to figure it out.
I
And
said, I said you'll be back, but I was knocking on your door right there. I was like, Tiffy, Tiffy, come
hello.
on.
Uh, yeah, I know. I'm like, what's happening here? And I don't know. I'm gonna maybe just have to hardwire in my laptop. And I even said that the other day. I'm like, get my stuff going in here, man. Just because it's hard for me. It's a little bit overwhelming. Like I said, I hadn't been on a laptop for a long time, and I was kind of like, ah. But we've been doing a nice job figuring it out. Thank you, Peggy, Des, Tomas, everybody, for being so supportive and patient with my bullshit. What were we talking about? Oh, well, we have more things in the. I'll shut the fuck up, you guys. Let's see. I wanted to see this
Now when I walk, I think people probably think I'm drunk.
because she had said previously. Oh, wait. Nope, that's not it.
Peggy, I thought that if I drank my White Russian, I thought that that might straighten me out. I thought that maybe it would do the opposite for me. I thought maybe I'd walk straight. I wouldn't walk like I was drunk, but no, it just it makes me feel almost I can't stand up. Like it makes me feel like my feet are glued to the ground, like they're like sunken in cement. And no, it doesn't work. And I know what you mean because I've often felt well. Actually, to be honest with you, I did take a walk around my block one day. Got lost because that's how much I go out. I don't, so I didn't even know where the hell I was. I got lost walking around my own friggin' ass.
Doreen has never been the full square of her block.
No.
I said next time I come to Brooklyn, I'm
One
like,
day I thought, all right, I'm going to take a walk around this block. But you know what? I got lost. But anyway, there was a big truck. I mean, a huge truck that was out there. I guess who does big deliveries and things like that. And it was so embarrassing because the guy got out of the truck and he said, "Can I help you? You look like you had a few drinks. I was so embarrassed. But I stood there and I said, no, you know what it is that I have MS. I was giving him the whole rundown, which he probably didn't friggin' believe me anyway. He probably, yeah, this girl's talking a lot of bullshit. She's drunk. And I was like, you know, it's okay. I'm not drunk. It's just that I have MS, whatever. And I said, I'll be fine. And trust me, I had to hold on to the fucking walls to get home. When I finally found where I was, I wasn't going to make it.
For that.
I was not going to make it.
I do remember.
But yeah, so I've had somebody come up to me and accuse me of being drunk. So I know how you feel.
That's always, that is a tough one. I've had the same. We went on a boat, and me and my husband and the girls, and when the boat stopped and we were walking off, I still felt like we're on the boat. My legs were still sea legs. They were noodles, And so I'm hanging on to my two girls, that are like 12 at that time. And I'm like, look at that trash mom leaning on the bed. And I'm just like, oh, Faye, thank goodness.
She's south. She's
right.
south.
But yeah, thankfully, and the thing is, you just got to always know who you are and what you're doing, and like my girls clearly knew I wasn't trashed, and that's the most important thing, right? All right, here's one from Dawn. And this is something that I am willing to talk about, but I don't want it to ever be political conversation, because I know this can become a political conversation. And I'm most certainly open to having vaccine conversations, because I know everybody has their own opinions and reasons and things like that. And I can respect that. As long as everybody respects each other. So, Doreen, you want to answer this? You want me to? Go ahead.
I'll answer. I got my first vaccine because I was told by my neurologist that I had to. So I got the first one. I got the what's the second one called? The booster.
Yeah.
But I did end up with COVID 3 times. The first time was the worst one, I believe. Fever, aches and pains like the flu, the cough, and I was scared shit. I was scared for my life. I really thought I was gonna drop dead. Not that I felt that way, but because of everything that you hear and see on television. All these people, dying, and seeing all those dead bodies getting taken out of hospitals, and we have nowhere to put them and stuff like that. I mean, I was terrified of the COVID. And
well, we gotta just and when you say that, we gotta remind people you live in New York City.
yes,
And
I live in New York City. It's overpopulated.
Well, and we were hearing about New York City.
Oh yeah, that's what you were hearing constantly about New York City, all the deaths and all the horrible. And so I was horrified, and I was scared. I really was scared. I thought that I was going to die. I didn't think I was going to make it. My son was crying, but here I am. Will I get any other vaccines? No, I will not. No, I will not. I think that the vaccines, the MS and my MS medication, I don't think that they even agree with each other. And I have like strange things on my body and strange things going on ever since the vaccine. And I don't care what anybody says. What's on me, I did not have until I had those vaccines, and also until I started taking the particular medication that I take. So I think that nope, I will not get another vaccine. I don't care if they make it 1 year, like a flu shot. It's not happening. I'll get my flu shot, but I will not get that vaccine at all. No.
Um, okay, so one said
Thank
I
you.
just yeah, I wanted to point that out. And then for me, I got the first three. I got the first three. I did get COVID. I'm trying to not say that because I'm always trying to not type it. Because now it's a word we can't even speak, which
Yeah.
is its own thing. But I did get it anyway. And I think another thing, if you guys watched our last stream, and we'll just throw out a reminder, because of the medications that we take, we have Taurine and I together have two B cells. She has one of her own, and I have one of my own. And so
We have nothing to fight
we have
for us.
nothing to fight it with. And we did lose friends during that time that had multiple sclerosis, and we were seeing the different types of tolls that things were taking, not only just seeing what is going on in the world, watching what's going on in her city, and I'm like, don't leave your apartment, right? Because of everything, how things were handled there and all of that. Um,
And I
so
didn't leave my apartment, and pray tell, I still got the freaking COVID.
right, somebody got it in. And me too. Somebody
Right.
got it into my house too. So it's almost like as much. But and then when both of us got it, we took the
The monoclonal antibodies.
antibodies, which now has a drug name, which I'm not going to promote it or anything like that. But uh, I don't know. I that time was more of a face thing for me. I think I had it another time where it was a more of a chest thing, but I did not end up in the hospital, thank God, and neither did Doreen, or thank whoever, Xenu,
Yeah.
whoever, whoever, you think. But but from what I have heard and read about people taking the fourth vaccine and onward, but the fourth one is where I'm looking, right? That would be the next one for me to take. And I'm seeing that a lot of people are not doing well with it. And even though I took the one that didn't have so much studies, but also it's like you don't know what the fuck to do. It's already like I drank the Kool-Aid that gave me no B cell, and or no B cells, and now we have a pandemic that I have nothing to fight it against. So I think that we were just terrified and trying to know what is the best thing, what is not the best thing. And it's like, well, I already drank this Kool-Aid kind of, and I'm not saying, hey, this is not medical advice. This is the worst medical advice. This is my opinion, and this is my thought process, and this is how I handled things, and this is the way that Doreen handled things. People handled things much differently. But I think at that time, but now a little bit farther into it, a little bit more knowledge, that fear fucking factor that's been lifted. Uh,
Yes.
I am not as interested in getting the fourth vaccine. I've heard and read a lot of people don't do well on it. And like Doreen said, she has felt things. or what have you. I haven't even talked about the fact that I have lupus, uh, and I have I mean, I have lupus, SLE, which is all of them. I started out though with just lupus of the blood, then lupus of the skin, and then now we're lupus of the organs and everything. But because I because of the lupus, those vaccines still to this day have left knots, soft spots, and almost like it could eventually perhaps offer a deterioration of tissue in the future. So, even though we have doctors and we have some great doctors sometimes, sometimes, but we also have to go with how we feel, what we trust on. Like you said, like I say, I'm more than willing to have that conversation about it, but we just have to respect everybody's perspective. Uh, yes, Tomas, it is definitely a personal perspective. So, yeah, and it's definitely a tough one. And I think it's going to be something we're going to face all the time. Like Doreen, she gets a flu shot. I don't get a flu shot. I get the flu every time I get the flu shot. And recovery times take a long time, as I'm sure most of you know. Is Peggy still here? Because
Yeah, she is.
uh, she said,
I had that problem too, Peggy.
and I wanted to ask Peggy, um, not to ask a lady her age or anything. Um, but I'm just curious how old she is. Because I know that it's difficult, right, to face using a cane. Oh, hey, Peggy. Hey, Peggy. She's 58. All right. Thank you, Peggy, for sharing your age. Um, Go girl. I'm just hitting all the buttons, you guys. It's gonna be like a little bit of shit. Uh, all
Oh,
right.
Peggy, you can decorate your cane if you want, make it spaz it all up and bedazzle it, and feel like the who you think you are walking outside with it. And if that still doesn't do it for you, then do what I do. Use the push cart.
You I was okay. I was 35 when I was diagnosed, and well, let's not even talk about a diagnosis. When I was not walking and I was in the wheelchair, and so so I was 35 using the wheelchair, and then I went to the rollator, and then I went to the cane. And so by the time I got to the cane, I was like, woo, woo, cane, I was excited about the cane, that I could just use the cane. And I did, Doreen knows, and it's in the car. I'll have to bring it in. But I actually have just kind of like, it's a nice looking black cane, and you can of course do whatever color you like. I kind of like black and like these kind of like natural tones. And so what I will do is I will wrap a scarf, like a thin scarf, around the top of my cane to just decorate it a little bit and help it match my outfit. And like Dawn said, she's like, Peggy, you need to watch more TV. Using canes can be cool. And like, yeah, you could put a little crimp in your step, do a little pimp walk. I know it's hard. I do know it's hard to use it, but if in truth, there have been times, Peggy, in where I have been hanging off. I've been asking that cane to hang up all this because I'm just trying to get to go. So I think if a pet, if anything helps you do things uh, more successfully and more comfortably, take advantage of it, honey. Don't let anything hold you back. Just don't. I mean,
Trust me, people don't look at you like you think that they're looking at you. They really don't.
no. That's what I always, and I do understand that I had the same conversation with my dad, remember, not long ago. He didn't want to use a cane. Now he's since passed, but he was uh, above 65 and bitching about using a cane. And I'm like, Dad, I've been using a cane since I was 35.
But
And
Peggy is right because canes were pegged for older people, and that's why she don't want to use the cane. But Dawn is also correct because I see a lot of young people using canes, and they have no problem using them. And honestly, nobody looks twice at them using it, and they're fine.
yeah,
The younger people, younger girls, they're fine using the cane. It's like a part of them. That's it. Like they strut their stuff with that cane.
mhm. Well, and my gosh, um, it's easy for us to forget to be grateful when we're in the midst of the struggle and
Yeah.
facing things that we don't want to do. That's one thing that I really had to get in touch with was my gratitude and feeling blessed with the gifts that I have been given and the abilities that I do have. No, I can't run a mile. I'm never going to run a mile. Who's calling you, Doreen? I'm gonna have to, what's happening?
The
I'm just,
pharmacy.
I'm just, um,
It's medication time.
you're
Pharmacy.
right. Let's see. Let's see what Tomas says.
People of all ages. And he's right.
Yeah, that's true. Tomas, do you want to answer it and come back or no?
Uh,
Uh,
no, I'll get it when we get off.
okay. Yeah, Tomas is absolutely right. People, you know what, Peggy? Look at glass cane just for fun, because I know that we all live on the internet, right? And we're all over the place. So look up glass canes. I don't know if you guys have ever looked up glass canes, and they're really neat. They're beautiful. They're actually glass. Some of them, and that's kind of where I got the idea for the scarf around my cane, because you can just kind of like, tie a thin scarf at the top of it. It doesn't add any weight. It just adds some color. But some of these canes are like etched. You can put lights in them, or they come with lights. You can put a scarf in it. You can change out colors. I mean, they're really cool. There are all kinds of options, but um, one of the things that I have learned with a cane, sometimes it really does help me stay in a nice stride, right? Instead of that struggle stride. You know the struggle stride, Doreen, where
Oh
we're
yeah.
holding on to the wall,
Yeah,
or
yes.
but we can also get into that struggle stride using the cane. Like, oh, I've
Right.
gone too far with my cane, and now there is no wall, there is no nothing. There's just me and this little cane, and I'm asking this little cane to hold me as if it were a wall.
I think that when you have a partner or when you have a boyfriend, you kind of feel a bit embarrassed about walking with a cane. But or if you're out there still seeking, you feel a little embarrassed with the cane. But when you're at that point in life where you really don't give two shits and you're not looking for nobody and you don't have a partner and you don't care, you'll use the friggin' cane. You can give two shits what anybody says or whatever. And honestly, nobody says anything anyway. But that's in your mind.
Yeah. Well, and for me, like at the time of my diagnosis, or of the not walking, because I was not walking before I actually knew why I wasn't walking, right? And at that time, my daughter was turning 13. And I'm just like, I got to figure out whether it's in a wheelchair that I'm moving around, or if it's by a walker, I'm moving around, or if it's with a cane, I'm moving around. I have got to be able to uh, be mobile.
There's so many things that come along with that. I mean,
Yes,
you
Tomas.
sort of feel inferior to the other person, and you don't want them to think
What?
that you don't have the same capabilities
Oh, a
as they.
significant other? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. So you sort of feel inferior to that person if they were to think that you didn't have the same capabilities as them. Because I know that's the way that I felt. Like I felt like they're looking down at you, like more of like a feel sorry sort of thing. And I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. And like, yeah, she's not as capable as she used to be, or she's certainly not as capable as I am now because, as she's not the same now. And that's me. That's me. That's my head, I guess. But, it's my head that counts at the moment, right? So,
That's what you're dealing with. I mean,
right,
it's all about what is in our head
right.
and how we handle and face those things. And I agree with you. There are times that I feel the same
Right?
way. Yeah. I mean, and especially, you know, my hubs is 6 years younger than me,
Yeah.
and so even though he's pretty much a homebody, like in truth, he was a little bit more of the homebody than I was when we were younger and like raising the kids and things. But um now I it is reversed, and there are certain things that I know that he enjoys and would like me to enjoy with him that I can't or I do not enjoy any longer. And it's just some things are not worth the price that I'm going to pay for them. And some things we're going to suck it up and do anyway.
All right, Tomas. See you later. Talk to you later.
Have a good lunch. Okay. And then,
But I think it's just like what we were saying earlier. Well, what I was saying earlier, that like you don't want your disability thrown in your face, on a daily. So I think that by you having, walking around with the cane, if you're throwing it in your own face, every day that I have this disability now, or, I'm disabled. And because you are looking at it, you think everybody else is looking at it too. And especially your significant other, you know, and so like you're actually telling it to him, like you don't want them to be reminded of that, like I have a
You
disability. I have a disability. And that's kind of like, yeah, like it makes you feel like inferior to that person. And I don't ever want to feel that, didn't ever want to feel that way. But now it just doesn't matter.
what doesn't matter?
Now it doesn't matter how anybody thinks. For me, for everybody, like everybody has their own head, everybody has their own opinion. Now it doesn't matter to me how anybody thinks of me. If I had a cane, if I had the walker, even with the wagon. I mean, the push cart. People see me pushing the freaking push cart all the time. There's never nothing in it. So they got to know, or either she's crazy, or there's something going on there. Come on.
Is that what they think?
Well, I don't know what they think, but they got to be thinking something. I mean, she never has nothing. She's constantly pushing this friggin' push cart.
Because, well, okay. Can I just say right quick, I am really enjoying Peggy and Dawn in the chat. You know what? I love little chats, and I chat all over the place. And that's where I've met Dawn and Peggy. And this is so
Right.
much fun with them. I'm enjoying you guys so much. And I really am. And so what Doreen is saying, okay, because this took me a second to realize. Doreen lives in Brooklyn and they have to walk her cabin everywhere. So they have little grocery carts that they not like we push, but like that you pull. You put your groceries in and you pull the cart. So what she is saying, I'm just clarifying, unless you want to clarify. I'll
Well,
clarify.
actually, you can push the cart.
Well, I know you can push the cart, but it's not like a grocery store cart.
Right.
Right. Where that's what I'm just trying to
Oh,
clarify.
okay.
It's just like a little basket cart that you can put your things in and push or pull to to
Right.
the store. And so that is what she is utilizing as her walker is her empty little push cart. So she's saying she's got to start, putting some fake bags in it so she doesn't look like she's just this nutty lady pushing the
Yeah.
push cart around. Uh,
Or a bottle bum looking to collect recyclables.
oh, but okay, let's see. The lady said that they're enjoying this too. And Peggy said that AA Ron, which I know that you don't know who that is, Doreen, and Alex went live, and you stayed here. She says, Doreen,
Aw,
you're a hoot.
aw, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Doreen is aware of my interest and investment into the ex Scientology community and the abuses that come along with it. That's something I'm very passionate about. That's where I met these ladies. And so my close friends like Doreen, she knows it's a bug that's up my ass and it's been up my ass for a while. And
Yes.
but she just does not do all the chats and the investigating and all of those things. She gets her information from me,
From
which
Elmore over there.
May. She's like, really? Really? I'm like, yes, 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 yes.
I don't have to do nothing. I just listen to Tiffany.
But but so thanks a lot, Peggy. That really means an awful lot because, I enjoy them too. But I also I did know that Dawn is an ex-Scientologist and she left in 1981. And I did know that you were an ex-Scientologist, Dawn. And I'm so thankful and proud of you of leaving in 1981. And I'm very thankful that you've had this much time of a true life. Um, Doreen doesn't know. Maybe that's something we can talk about. That is something, you know, uh, that, Doreen doesn't necessarily know how the
I
induct.
don't know anything about Scientology
Right.
except for what Tiffany has told me, but I was so surprised to find out that there was so many in Brooklyn. I had no clue.
Um, yeah, like I'm like they're in New York City, they're in Brooklyn, they're everywhere. They're right outside of the town that I grew up in here. Um, which that's not what motivates me. What motivates me is the abuses, the disconnection, the children, the adults that come out, um, and deserve a fucking childhood. But that's a whole another soapbox that I can get. See, New York is where Don was in the Sea organization. Remember when we were talking about the billion-year contract?
Yes.
That means that Dawn signed a billion-year contract.
Oh, wow.
And that, truthfully, Dawn and Peggy, is something, and Doreen knows, and that's part of the why I created the Just to 45 and Peeps Facebook page, because it does allow me to introduce some of these things in science that go on in Scientology to other people that aren't necessarily delving for an interest or are finding it. I'm trying to plant seeds and spread information and let people know what they can do to help. So I'm trying to do what I can do. Okay, so let's see. Also, Peggy says, do you do SPTV stuff, Dawn? And um, so Dawn is from, oh, look, there we go.
Oh, wow. In Steinway, Astoria.
So, good God, Dawn.
Wow.
And so that was 26. And so Dawn was, I imagine, in the Sea Org then when she was hit by a car. And they don't do medicine. They believe that everything can be fixed by handling and talking through and fucking you figure it out. And
Well, Peggy said I was never in Scientology, but I
oh,
can relate on a trauma survivor level to the community.
yeah, and I think that truthfully is Dore, because I know that you're not familiar. Oh, okay. Dawn said no, she had left. She wasn't in the Sea Org then. Oh, so she must have left and stayed in New York. Is that the case, Dawn? Did you leave and stay in New York? Um, I think that that's something, Peggy, like she was never in Scientology. And, I think that that's something that I've know there are a lot of trauma survivors, narcissistic, coercive relationship. Um, a lot of people in the SPTV community, which is Scientology, SP stands for suppressive persons. Those are people that talk out against Scientology, right? And I think that it generally applies to like Scientologists. I don't know that I'm a suppressive person. I think to them I'm a total waste of piece of shit, and I'm just running my mouth. So Dawn says, I went into the Sea Org in New York from Philly to get away from an abusive husband. And then you walk right straight into a fucking cult.
Wow, what a shame.
Sorry, sweetheart. Well, and that's also part of their game is like they're kind of looking for you when you're looking for some kind of hope, some kind of help, you know. Oh, so in 82 says her ex-husband and ex-wife stole the OT levels and we passed them out. Oh, so that's material because Scientology is very secretive. And that's something that has piqued my interest for many years. I so wish my dad was around to talk this shit with. And I know I'm getting nerdy, Doreen, and all that. But
No.
those are expensive. People pay a lot of money for them, and they're like elite levels. I'm not even giving this justice by trying to explain it, but so she had left the cult. Then they got their hands on some expensive material that are the OT and above levels. Those are hush hush. You cannot talk about them. You can't even talk about them with your husband or wife. You don't talk about it because that's secret. It's crazy shit going on up in those levels.
Mm.
And oh yeah, that's where they talk about Xenu, this alien, and Thetans, little things stuck to your body. It's a whole thing, Doreen. We would and I would love Dawn can explain it away, she can explain it the best. But they passed out these expensive levels. And I think in 82, uh, that would have probably not made Scientology very happy. Because there wasn't the internet for whistleblowers, right, back then. Like
Right.
now, it's almost more of a community that protects each other. But back then, it was like kind of every man for itself. So go you, Dawn. Oh, yes. And if you do these things and you talk about the upper levels, if you tell somebody, you will get pneumonia and die. I forgot. Peggy reminded me that if you share the information in those OT levels that Dawn's giving out for free, that people pay big money for, and then okay, so she gave them out in 1982, and then if you see here, okay, so Peggy says it'll give you pneumonia, or you'll die, or you'll get cancer. So 1983, Dawn was literally declared, and they literally send you a piece of paper, yellow goldenrod paper, that declares you a suppressive person.
Mm.
And so Dawn literally was declared a suppressive person. And I like suppressive persons. And then what did Peggy say?
You said, or the
Oh, yeah.
or the person you tell, maybe.
Right. Like, so, if I told you one of us going to get pneumonia and die, both of us. So it's a risk. And they truthfully believe that, so they're doing you a favor. I don't want you to die because I told you,
Right.
right? So I'm not going to tell you. So let's see. Oh, the Guardian's office. Now the Guardian's office, um, which I'm not sure what it's called now, but that is, they stalk you, they hunt you down, they follow you, they fair game you. It's a rule to ruin you. And so clearly they followed her to a restaurant, I'm imagining, Dawn, and walked in and handed her her papers. And by then, now I know she said the other day disconnection, I believe she said okay, renamed Osa, thank you. um I have MS, but which is Office of Special Affairs, right? So they were the Guardian's office, but they set out to destroy you, follow you, set PIs on you. I mean, it's the literature of the Church of L. Ron Hubbard, who wrote it, that this is what you have to follow. So that's what they do, and so it sounds like Dawn was facing some of that, and it's just bullshit. And they make you disconnect from your family. So like I remember, I believe she said the other day that in 1981 they weren't pushing disconnection from family so much.
Right.
Um, but now, and if you get declared a suppressive person, like if in your religion you were declared a suppressive person and Jim still wanted to stay in that religion, he could not speak to you anymore and would not for
Mm.
many years. I mean, it could be the rest of your lives. People, it has devastated lives, it has devastated relationships. It's a horrible, horrible fucking thing. I mean, I really hate it, and I wish that there were something more that I could do. I volunteered where I can, and I offer financially where I can and what I can do. But uh, and learn what I can and try to teach other people a little bit, even.
Right.
There's so much that's not known. It's been under such a cloak of secrecy for so long that you had to really dig to find anything, and so yeah, it's a lot. And Dawn, it's a one heck of a life, babe. You are a survivor of survivors, I would have to say, and have a shit ton of strength because all that bunch of baloney. Yeah. It's amazing what people get through and how we survive things. We've talked about different traumas and different things in our childhoods. Everybody has different things,
Oh yeah.
and you learn, um, you learn how to thrive and survive. And she says, yes, I'm aware of that. Thank you. And I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are, babe. Well, Doreen, how long have we been here?
Almost 15 minutes shy of 2 hours.
Oh my good gravy. Well, what do you say we hit the road?
Yeah, because I got to pee.
She's got to be. Yes, if you've been in an abusive family, you've been in an occult, and that's truth. And that's something that we will talk about in the future, is just narcissistic relationships or all that kind of stuff. So we will talk about that. All right, everybody, let's go. Everybody gotta go take a tinkle. Go pee.
It was nice chatting again, Dawn and
Peggy.
Peggy.
And Tomas and Des, thanks.
Damas, yes. Thank you so much for coming on and
hey, can anybody, if you guys liked it, could you just give us a like? It helps us know that people like it, and we'll do it again, and we can do it more frequently. We just talk shit, and people want
yeah,
to.
just
That's fine.
sprinkle a little love. Sprinkle
All
a
right,
little love.
love you guys. We will see you.
Love you.
Have a fabulous day. Peace.
Till the next. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.